We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Taiwan kicks off a global protest for Hong Kong. Within sight of the border, war-weary Syrians dream of Turkey. Normandy prefect plays down dangers but warns of contaminated produce. Morocco makes headway against HIV, but the stigma remains. Registers, rates, and points, some tax hike woes for Japan retailers. Joe Biden says President Donald Trump has violated his oath of office. Clinton says Trump has turned U.S. diplomacy into, quote, cheap extortion racket. Some reactions to the Trump impeachment inquiry. Plus, how goats help prevent wildfires in California. And EBC Cares partners up with Project Birthday in California's capital. This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C., bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Rose Papa Angeles. In Taipei, some 2,000 people, many dressed in black, gathered under torrential downpours outside Parliament, the largest Hong Kong solidarity protest so far this summer on the island.
警察就是暴力的部分比较严重这样子，所以说我们想今天来这边就发出一点声音，让大家都知道，对。
为了维护、捍卫民主、主权独立的台湾，我们愿意跟香港人一起反送中撑香港。
Desperate to escape war and find medical care for their daughter, Jaber Karawan and his wife have spent hundreds of dollars trying to escape northwestern Syria into Turkey.
حاولت مشان بدي اطلع على تركيا مشان عندي الصغيرة عندها مشكلة بعيونها بدي اعمل لها عملية لعيونها قلت بدي اطلع لهونيك مشان اسوي لها العملية للصغيرة ومشان انا هونيك بلكي يعني بحسن امن شغل مشان يعني احسن عيشهم لانه هون صار حاولت تقريبا شيء 4-5 مرات لهلا وراح ضل حاول يعني 50 و60 مرة و100 مرة لحتى افوت لانه بدي افوت لحتى احسن اشتغل امن لقمة اكل لاولادي ومشان بنتي هاي بدي افوت لانه مشان بدي اعالجها مشان عيونها.
يعني ما انه بتمنى انه حدا يساعدنا لنفوت بامان مشان ما نتعذب نحن هالاطفال اللي معنا عم يتعذبوا اكثر من نحن عم يتحملوا البرد عم يتحملوا كل شيء عم نخاطر بحياتنا وبروحنا مشان نفوت على تركيا وبالاخر ما عم نحسن.
نحن هلا هون على تقريبا على الجدار ما في شيء بيننا وبين الجدار 50 متر يعني احيانا اذا حدا قرب على الجدار بيقوموا بيضربوا عليه او بصير ملاسنات وحكي ما هو كويس. يا اخي احنا يا رجعونا على بلادنا يا اما بدنا اخر شيء بدنا نفوت على تركيا واحنا قاعدين لا شغله ولا عملي ما عندنا شغله وجايتنا شتويه بكره الشتويه هون قاسي كثير ما في خدمات ما في شيء امور كلها امور تعبانه لاخر درجه يعني.
Meanwhile, 2 days after a spectacular fire at the Lubrizol chemical plant, the prefect of Normandy unveils the results of analysis that show a, quote, usual state of air quality in Wuhan during a press conference. However, he underlined the presence of asbestos on the roofs of buildings and warns families and farmers about the possibility of contaminated agricultural produce.
Alors, nous parlons bien là de toxicité, puisque nous avons toujours cette odeur persistante. Et c'est cette odeur qui est incommodante, c'est cette odeur qui est aussi anxiogène, il faut bien le dire. Bon. C'est la raison pour laquelle il était, je crois, très très important que nous puissions aller au bout de ces analyses, comme le rappelaient d'ailleurs les ministres hier, Mme Buzyn et Mme Borne. Il fallait aller au bout de ces analyses pour y voir parfaitement clair. C'est désormais chose faite et ce sera évidemment, je le redis, publié. Donc il est bien confirmé une présence d'amiante dans la toiture des bâtiments. C'est un sujet qui est identifié, qui est suivi tant pour la protection des travailleurs, essentiellement les sapeurs-pompiers, que des riverains immédiats. Un programme de mesure de fibres dans l'air a été engagé sur un rayon qu'on a voulu très large, c'est-à-dire près de 300 mètres autour du site. Si nous avons retenu ce périmètre, voilà, donc il y a une forme de gel, si je devais simplifier, des productions et récoltes. Pour les particuliers, c'est-à-dire les potagers, les jardins familiaux, etc., il est recommandé de ne pas consommer de produits souillés. Mais
in Morocco, the struggle against HIV has been so successful in recent years that campaigners worry about losing funding for combating the virus. But for people living with the disease, it remains a heavy stigma. Take a look.
Permis cette diminution des infections, c'est en grande partie de travailler dans les réseaux des populations les plus exposées. Et ça, on a beaucoup d'appréhension sur la pérennité du financement de ce travail si le Fonds mondial venait à quitter le Maroc.
أول حاجة المجتمع ديال المغرب ما تيرحمش. المجتمع ديالنا ماشي بالضرورة عائلتك ولا صحابك. المجتمع كامل يقدر كاين اللي واعي وكاين اللي ما واعيش كاين اللي قاري واعي ودماغه ما واعيش في دماغه.
Japan finally implemented a much-delayed consumption tax hike, raising the rate from 8% to 10%, despite fears the move could cause a recession. The worries have receded somewhat in recent months, and the government insists the increase is necessary to fund key policy priorities. The increase covers almost all purchases, from electronics to books and cars. The government has, however, made a few exceptions. Magazines and newspapers that publish more than twice a week will stay at 8%, along with food items purchased for consumption off-site. That means groceries will stay at the old rate along with food purchased for takeout. But it puts some food retailers, including bakeries, in the country's ubiquitous convenience stores in a bind because customers can choose to eat their purchases in store or outside, requiring two different rates. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's government has twice delayed implementing the hike over fears it could hit the country's fragile economic growth. Growth in the second quarter was a revised 0.3% compared to the previous quarter's 0.5%, with exports hit by the global economic slowdown. And historically, tax hikes have hit Japan's economy hard. Both of the most recent increases, from 3% to 5% in 1997 and then to 8% in 2014, have been followed by recessions. Martin Schulz, an economist at the Fujitsu Research Institute, said, quote, "Japanese wages haven't been going up for 20 years. That means that the consumption tax hike directly induces a reduction of purchasing power. Japanese consumers already face sticker shock thanks to various additional indirect taxes, including tariffs on imported goods. Retailers display prices before tax, putting the full price only in smaller print below." Schultz said, quote, "It's as if to say it's not us, it's the mean government." The hike has caused anxiety, with some consumers deciding to make big-ticket purchases before the increase comes into effect. But experts says there are signs that many consumers have simply resigned themselves to the increase and are unlikely to adjust their spending. VAT in Japan is among the lowest in the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, where the average rate in 2018 was 19.3%. But the country has the world's highest national debt among developed nations, a whopping 226% of GDP, and is struggling with the ballooning costs associated with its aging population. The government is taking measures to soften the blow for consumers and retailers, including a massive package to fund incentives for car and home purchases and help low-income households and those with small children. The measures mean it will be some time before the government sees much of an impact from the tax on its coffers. It eventually plans to use the increased revenue to improve the Social Security system, as well as offer free preschool education from the age of 3.
まだ対応してないんですよ。電子マネーを使えるペイペイは導入したんですけど、その後の手続きがちょっと分からなくて。ますかね。お年寄りが多いので、まずスマホを持ってない人も多くて、ほぼ現金ですね。だから平日はほぼ現金なので、今日もいたかなってぐらいで、土日
もうないんだけど、ちょっと値上げをさせていただいて、うち税みたいな形でやっていこうかなって。細かい計算できないもん。もうレジは高くて買えないしさ、この景気の悪い時になんで今なのって言いたいだし、あそこに腰掛けて食べていくにしてもね、お年寄りとか子供さんがちょこっと、食べていくぐらいなの。あそこで食べたら 10% になるよなんていうことは言えないよ。なんでこんなややこしいことになっちゃったのかと思っちゃう。もう我々も年寄りはとてもじゃないけど計算できない。
Up next, Joe Biden says President Donald Trump has violated his oath of office. Clinton says Trump has turned U.S. diplomacy into, quote, cheap extortion racket. Some reactions to the Trump impeachment inquiry. Plus, how goats help prevent wildfires in California. Eagle News will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News coming to you from Washington, D.C. I am Rose Papa Angeles. During his first public speech since the Ukrainian case, former U.S. Vice President and Democratic candidate for 2020, Joe Biden, considers that President Donald Trump, quote, has violated his oath of office, put at risk our national security, and has used the power of his office and your tax dollars to try to persuade a foreign leader to once again interfere in a presidential campaign.
Folks, we have a president who's violated his oath of office, a president who has put at risk our national security, a president who may, and that would be the decision of the Congress to make, may have committed a crime, and a president who used the power of his office and your tax dollars to try to persuade a foreign leader to once again interfere in a presidential campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump inherited a strong economy from our administration, just like he inherited everything in his life. And now he's in the midst of squandering that economy, just like he squandered everything given in his life. There used to be a basis. Folks, nobody knows that better than the people here in Las Vegas. Gun violence is now the biggest fear factor of our children. They're worried about being shot in school. That's what they go to school.
In this, what he did was clearly inappropriate. It was an abuse of power. And actually, some of us feel a lot of relief now that actually things are moving forward with impeachment for him.
The continuing message from the Vice President has always been one that unites us, and that historically has been something that attracts me to him. His spirit, he speaks always of what unites as opposed to what divides us.
Democrats charged aggressively into an impeachment investigation of President Donald Trump on Friday, ordering Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to turn over Ukraine-related documents and scheduling testimony for witnesses to alleged abuse of power by the U.S. leader. 3 House committees gave Pompeo 1 week to produce the documents, saying multiple State Department officials have direct knowledge of Trump's efforts to enlist the Ukraine government's help in U.S. domestic political campaign for re-election. They also announced interviews scheduled with 5 state officials, including former ambassador to Ukraine Masha Yovanovitch, whom Trump reportedly forced out earlier this year for resisting his efforts to pressure Kyiv to probe Democratic rival Joe Biden. During a public address at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton said U.S. President Donald Trump has turned, quote, American diplomacy into a cheap extortion racket, before accusing him of endangering Americans by putting his interests first.
But of course, we all know that she has just announced the opening of an impeachment inquiry into the president on the basis of evidence that he betrayed his oath of office to uphold the Constitution and protect and defend our country. He has turned American diplomacy into a cheap extortion racket. He has denigrated, and let's be honest, stabbed in the back, the career Foreign Service officers who serve bravely and selflessly no matter the politics of the administration that they are working under. And now they are caught in the crossfire. Now, sadly, we've known who Donald Trump is for some time now. We knew he was a corrupt businessman who cheated people. We knew that he and his campaign invited foreign adversaries to tamper with our elections. And now we know that in the course of his duties as president, he's endangered us all by putting his personal and political interests ahead of the interests of the American people.
Democrats had no choice but to launch an impeachment probe into Donald Trump. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Friday, saying the U.S. president put national security in jeopardy with his attempts to get Ukraine to investigate political rival Joe Biden. Pelosi formally launched the impeachment inquiry earlier this week amid a confrontation between Congress and the White House over a whistleblower complaint regarding Trump's explosive July 25 call with Ukraine's newly elected president, Volodymyr Zelensky. Our Eagle News teams gathered some reaction to the recent impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. Here are some of them.
My reaction to the Donald Trump impeachment inquiry: I, for one, am happy that there are people still in the government that are able to perform checks and balances. There have been a lot of people who Donald Trump has fired, and a lot of people who have left his administration. And sometimes it kind of makes me wonder who's actually running the government with so many vacancies in a lot of offices. In addition to that, I really am looking forward to hearing what the whistleblower has to say and what comes out of that, mostly because of the language that was used in the interviews and whatnot that I've heard so far.
As a citizen, the other side of the aisle, their purpose is to kick Donald Trump out of his office, even before he took office. Even before the first day he took his office, they want him out of the presidency. And making phone calls to another nation does not constitute impeachment. Impeachment constitutes bribery, I think treasons, high crimes, and misdemeanors. It is bad enough that the president has to release the transcript, all of those things that he discussed with another president from another country. You know, anything could go on those discussions. Those are top secrets. He should not release those, but he released it anyway, and there's nothing there that constitutes impeachment.
In other news, in California, authorities use goats to prevent wildfires as the animals eat up brush that could lead into infernos. The practice, which began in recent years, has become common since the tragic Santa Rosa Tubbs fire in 2017 and the one in Paradise in 2018. Carson Helton, a shepherd from the company Sage, tells us how.
Well, California fires, as we all know, reduce the fire load, reduces the fire risk. All these homes around us here, simply speaking. If you look here, 150 head grazing versus 250 firefighters trying to fight fire in this canyon, kind of makes simple. Or having 10 guys out here on weed whackers buzz noising for the next 20-25 days and not do as efficient as these guys do.
South Pasadena firefighters Captains Paul Riddle explain how much of a help this process is.
It helps tremendously. So, what we're trying to do is eliminate that fuel ladder from the ground up into the trees. And if you can see behind me that there's some substantial dead growth behind me. And that's that kind of fuel ladder that we want to eliminate. So we have time to get resources in place so we can properly protect the structures that may be threatened if a fire were to occur in this area.
Coming up, EBC Cares partners up with Project Birthday in California's capital. Stay with us. Eagle News will be right back. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News, and I am Rose Papa Angeles. Our Eagle News team in Sacramento, through the EBC Cares initiative, partners up with Project Birthday, an organization that helps put together memorable birthday celebrations for homeless and needy children. Here's the story.
Project Birthday is a part of Hands On Sacramento, and they provide birthday parties for kids in need whose parents can't afford or shouldn't be spending money on birthday parties. A group of volunteers will ask to sponsor a birthday party. The group sponsors could be a company or a group of friends.
For us at EBC Sacramento, we jumped at the opportunity to partner with Project Birthday as a part of EBC Cares.
Because our whole mission for EBC is, news, positive news stories, things we care about, things we want to hear. We should live up by that word by helping out in the community, bringing joy to people, be the news instead of just having to report the news, just be the news stories, the happiness for the people to experience and have.
EBC Cares is important because there's a lot of things that happen in the world and not many people do things about it. So it's really good that EBC Cares can do things like this to help those problems.
All the kids who are here are invited to all Project Birthday parties. And so not only is it a special day for the birthday kid who otherwise wouldn't have a birthday party, their friends here at the shelter can also experience a birthday party, enjoy all the games, enjoy the cupcakes, enjoying singing happy birthday to their friends, and watching their friends open gifts.
The thing I enjoyed the most was watching the birthday celebrants open their gifts because they seemed happy and grateful, and so did the parents, and it was just happy to see them happy.
For a moment, for like an hour, they feel like they're not homeless and they're not struggling, and have a sense of normal childhood experience like a birthday party.
So that's why the Project Birthday was so good, because they can finally have a chance to have their own birthday party and have fun with each other, and also have fun with themselves, enjoy themselves, and have a good time.
I think a lot of people think they have to be rich, or they have to have a lot of time, or have a lot of connections to do something to make a difference, but sometimes a simple party can make a difference. Having volunteers come in with a great attitude and positive attitude really lightens their mood. And I think it reminds them that they are worthwhile and they are appreciated by their people and being thought of. So that's how I think Project Birthday and other things can really make an impact on just re-energizing the community and to reminding them of the problem of homelessness, and then reminding them that they can take small steps to make a big impact.
Truly inspiring. That is today's Eagle News. Join us again tomorrow for stories that matter to you. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Rose Papa Angeles, and I am 1 with 25.